How long have you been chasing me, wolf-kissed? 17 winters? 18? Do I now haunt your dreams? Eivor the Cruel, 872. Hello and welcome to Visions of the Past. My name is Andrew, and I'm the host of this Assassin's Creed lore podcast. This is episode 70, and today we're going to start talking about the life of Eivor Varinsdottir, the main protagonist of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, in which she was voiced by Cecile Stenspil. Even though you're able to choose between a male or female version of Eivor in the game, for the purpose of this podcast, we will be referring to Eivor as a woman. Not because of preference, but because of two reasons. First off, the prequel comic, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Song of Glory, depicts Eivor as a woman, as does the novel Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Gremlins Saga. And for second, the name itself is the name of a woman. Eivor, or Eivor, is a female name given in the Nordic countries, and the last name Varinsdottir implies that she is a daughter of Varin. If it was a male, it would be instead Varin's son. Now that's out of the way, let's start unpacking the character. Eivor Varinsdottir had a tragic start to her life, as she had her parents and her village taken from her. She was born in the year 847 into the Raven clan, led by King Stryborn, Sigvald's son. At the age of 8, Eivor and her parents hosted a feast organized by her father Varin in honor of King Stryborn. This is when tragedy struck. During the feast, they were raided by a different clan known as the Wolf Clan, which was led by Eivor the Cruel. To young Eivor, this was just a raid that was to be expected in the cruel lands of Old Norway. The raid led to a personal battle between her father Varin and Eivor. At one point, the fight came to a pause and Eivor made an offer to Varin to, quote, accept your fate and die a coward, here before your people, and I will spare the rest. Varin took the offer and laid down his axe, to have his life taken by Eivor. After Eivor took his life, his wife, and Eivor's mother Rosa, rushed in, only to be killed by an axe thrown into her back. Once both Eivor's parents were dead, Eivor ordered his men to continue culling the rest of the village. This entire event played out right in front of 8-year-old Eivor, who luckily was rescued by the king's son, Sigurd. He then rode off on horseback with Eivor, and this is how Eivor survived the slaughter of her parents and her entire village. But things weren't over yet. This is when Eivor earned the title of Wolf-Kissed. During the escape on horseback with Sigurd, the horses were knocked down by one of Eivvor's raiders. This sent Eivor off a cliff and onto a frozen lake. Out of the frying pan and into the fire, so to speak, as Eivor was then attacked by a wolf. The wolf bit down on Eivor's neck, causing her to scream in pain, which attracted some nearby ravens that attacked the wolf and saved Eivor. By the end of this, Eivor was adopted by the king himself and was raised as his own, alongside her rescuer, and now stepbrother, Sigurd. Unlike the other protagonists that we know of, like Ezio Auditore, Eivor Varinsdottir isn't your usual cunning and scheming character. She's a true Vikinger. She was direct and headstrong, and when she saw a goal, she went at it without prior thought. Growing up, Eivor had a hard time gaining the favor of her adopted father. At the age of 23, a nearby village was being raided, a village that was without a clan. Eivor saw this as an opportunity to gain this village's favor, maybe to have them join the Raven clan. One of her clansmen, Dag, suggested that she take a more careful approach, one that is more diplomatic, as she represents her entire clan. Ignoring his pleas, Eivor charged into battle, cutting down the raiders. Then she came across this one raider named Roscoe. Roscoe recognized Eivor and taunted her about her father Varin, claiming that he died a coward instead of standing up for his clan. With one fell swoop, Eivor cut his legs off at the knees and left him to bleed. When the fight was over, Eivor tried to claim the village in the name of King Stryborn. Unfortunately, though, the village elder did not care much for the politics and saw both clans as the same savages under different names. He then tried to attack Eivor, but was immediately struck down. Eivor then demanded tribute from the rest of the villagers for saving them. After this, she returned to look for Roscoe, the now crippled raider, only to find that he was missing. While searching for him, she instead stumbled onto a woman who called herself Gull and claimed to be one of Eivvor's followers and a slave. On top of claiming the village in the name of her stepfather, Eivor figured this could be a personal tribute to him. Upon arriving at Stavanger, the seat of King Stryborn, he was instead infuriated with Eivor, claiming that what she had done could only have angered Kjotve, and that she might be bringing his attention directly to Stavanger. While training with another warrior by the name of Tora, Eivor vented her frustrations about not being able to win Stryborn's favor. She saved this village from being raided, only to be attacked by the village elder himself. She offered the village to her father and king, only to be yelled at for being reckless. Gull was nearby and overheard the entire conversation. Knowing Eivor's desire to prove herself, Gull tempted Eivor by telling her of a place that contains immeasurable wealth that she could bring to King Stryborn. Claiming that because Eivor did not torture her like Kjotve did, this is her way of thanking Eivor as a slave. Eivor was being offered yet another chance to impress Stryborn, and this time it was with treasure. No villages needed to be attacked, and Kjotve need not be disturbed. She then consulted Tora about this, and Tora expressed doubts and discouraged Eivor from going, especially knowing that Gull used to work for Kjotve, and this could be a trap. As always, Eivor was nothing if not adamant. She asked Tora to keep this a secret, and started her journey to the treasures with Gull. What neither of them realized, though, was that Kjotve had already sent out an envoy to recapture Gull. He knew Gull was with Eivor because someone rescued the crippled raider Roscoe, and Roscoe told them everything. Led by Bjarke Broadside, Kjotve's men were waiting for Eivor and Gull at the ruined temple of Heimdall. Being quick on her feet, Gull quickly claimed that this was her plan all along, to lead Eivor here so that Kjotve's men could find her. Left with no choice, Eivor defended herself, fighting off most of the men, only to be stabbed in the back, literally, by Gull. On the ground, bleeding, and in what seemed to be her final breaths, Eivor assured Bjarke that they will never have the treasures, as she will claim them in the name of King Stryborn. That was when Bjarke revealed a grim secret. During her journey here, Kjotve had sent his raiders to attack her home of Stavanger. He then turned his attention to Gull, beating her for taking Eivor to the treasures. Even though she was betrayed, Eivor lunged at Bjarke in an attempt to save Gull, managing to stab Bjarke with her sword, only to be shoved off by another one of his men. Eivor then stumbled into what seemed to be a hidden room in the temple, a room filled with gold and precious gems. In this room, she also found a pedestal that held an apple of Eden. To Eivor, though, it looked just like another piece of treasure, but Gull, on the other hand, she seemed to know exactly what it was. She immediately took it and used its power of stasis to contain Eivor. In her excitement, Gull dropped it, freeing Eivor from the apple's hold. Now, knowing what power it holds, Eivor was more eager than ever to claim it for her father. Before she could claim it for herself, though, the floors of the temple gave out and it took Gull with it. And with Gull hanging off the edge on the brink of death, Eivor still tried to help her up. But Gull refused. Loyal to Kjotve, she insisted on keeping the apple from King Stryborn, and offered Eivor an ultimatum: continue to chase glory to please her father, or return to save Stavanger. Remembering that her home was still under attack, Eivor left Gull to her fate, and she did return in time to save Stryborn, but was too late to save Tora. When she was questioned about her presence while the raid was happening, Eivor only said that she chose Stavanger. All in all, Stavanger was still saved. This was then followed by a series of campaigns of retribution to pursue Kjotve and his wolf clan. Through many struggles, some that even led Eivor to being captured, Eivor and her clan managed to push the wolf clan back and to secure a moment's respite. While this was going on, King Stryborn's son Sigurd was on a 2-year journey across Europe and Asia. On his journey, he met with the Brotherhood of Assassins, while still under the name of the Hidden Ones. He traveled back with one hidden one named Basim ibn Ishak, and seeing that what Eivor had done over the past years, claiming villages, securing treasures, and pushing back Kjotve's forces, Sigurd believed that Eivor had the potential to be something more, but only lacking the right tools. She never pursued glory for herself, nor did she display any signs of greed. Eivor Varinsdottir only ever sought to protect and bring glory to her clan and King Stryborn. And so he introduced her to the Hidden Ones Basim and Hytham, and later gifted her with the iconic tool of the Hidden Ones, the Hidden Blade. After a lesson on the value of stealth and subterfuge, Eivor was now equipped with the skills to use the Hidden Blade. Eivor then started a campaign with Sigurd to hunt down Kjotve, eventually confronting him in a one-on-one holmgang in 872 outside of Kjotve's fortress in Agder. Eventually defeating him, Eivor, Sigurd, and the Raven clan stormed the fortress, ending in the complete loss of the fortress and Gorm fleeing for his life. Shortly after the defeat of the Wolf clan, Eivor traveled with Sigurd and Striborn to Alkerstad on the invitation of King Harald. While in town, Eivor heard that Gorm was there, which led to Basm teaching Eivor how to blend into crowds so she could confront him. That confrontation ended with a warning from the city's guard and an exchange of threats between the two. Both, though, were present for King Harald's Althing later in the day, when King Harald claimed kingship over a united Norway. Gorm did try to join, though, but King Harald called him a liar and allowed Eivor to judge his fate, leading to Gorm's banishment. After this, King Striborn bent the knee and pledged his fealty to King Harald, much to Sigurd and Eivor's displeasement. After Sigurd belittled his father, and Eivor spoke to Harald directly, leading to the pair coming to an agreement that they owe each other no ill will. It wasn't long, though, that Eivor and Sigurd had returned to Fornsburg and had a meeting with some of Fornsburg's residents. This meeting ended with an agreement between all who attended that they should head to England to make a new life for themselves, without having to live under King Harald's rule. Before Eivor could pack, though, she ran into the clan seer Volka, asking her if she would be making the trip with them, as Eivor was hopeful to continue having Volka counsel her on her confusing visions and the prophecy that Eivor would betray Sigurd. Volka said that she couldn't because of her mother, but that they would meet again. Before the group could be on their way, though, they ran into Striborn at the docks for one last conversation. Then it was off to England, discussing where exactly they were looking to go. I think it's best to stop here with Eivor's life for today, as the choice to move to England with Sigurd was not only a big life event for her, it marked a big shift in her priorities. The first 25 years of her life, she's full of anger and looking for revenge on Kjotve for what he did to her parents and her home. We see her not doing a lot of thinking of the ramifications of her actions, but looking to cause damage to Kjotve's clan, thinking that it would bring glory to her and her clan, when it in turn made her appear to be much like Kjotve to the people outside of her clan. At this point, we don't have a lot of development for her character, considering that all we've seen for her so far is her issues with Kjotve. This does grow and evolve, but we'll talk about that when we discuss Eivor's time in England and beyond. But one thing I do find interesting in what we see for Eivor is how her home is presented, and specifically with her relationship with King Striborn. In the comic Song of Glory, they are based out of Stavanger, a whaling village within Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and they're shown in Valhalla itself to be based out of Fornsburg. And it seems that it means one of two things. Either the comic was wrong and put the wrong name on the wrong city, or Stavanger is the home of King Striborn, while Fornsburg is the home of Sigurd. It's unlikely to me. I lean more to the comics making a mistake, but as it reads, it's hard to understand exactly how things are supposed to be, especially when you look at the city's locations within the map of Valhalla. It's very interesting and confusing, and hopefully something that will be addressed in the future, though it probably won't be. With that being said, what do you think about the early years of Eivor's life? Let me know over at Twitter at visions_AC. And I want to thank you all for joining me today. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for new episodes. If you love the Visions of the Past podcast, please subscribe and share this podcast with others. If you have any questions about Assassin's Creed or topics that you would like me to cover, please feel free to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at visions_AC, and you can find those links in the show notes below. Until next time, my assassin friends, make sure to follow the creed, and to those Templars listening, may the Father of Understanding guide you.